he said and made a few crazy statements along, basically throughout the entire night. And it starts off with this one in particular where he wanted to virtue signal the second he got up on the stage talking about a female vice president.
Mitch and Chuck will understand it's good to be almost home. Down the hall. Anyway, thank you all. Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President. No president has ever said those words from this podium. No president has ever said those words. And it's about time.
If this was any indication of how the rest of the night was going to go, I guess it would be pretty accurate, because this is exactly how Biden is planning on doing this entire thing. To sit here and virtue signal about the fact that there's a female vice president and that must be the most important thing ever, and we're just going to sit here and talk about it and clap for it all night long. So getting into the next thing that he was kind of going on about, so he made this statement talking about minimum wage, and of course he's making another promise, which he, by the way, still has yet to have done at all, but he's making another promise to up the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
By the way, while you're thinking about sending things to my desk, let's raise the minimum wage to $15. No one working 40 hours a week, should live below the poverty line.
See, what Biden always tends to leave out is how this is actually going to work long term. I mean, every Democrat leaves this out, let's be honest here. But the fact is that when you increase the minimum wage, we already know this, it puts a burden and a strain on the companies that are already doing what they're doing now. When you do this, you increase the company's spending, the amount of money that it costs to run their business. So they have two choices. They can, and they probably will do both of these, but they can either lay off employees or they can raise the price of their goods to compensate for the fact that now they have to pay people more money. Okay, when you raise the prices of goods, what that means is that it's now more expensive to go to a fast food restaurant or these other miscellaneous places, which means that those people that were now getting the $15 minimum wage that felt so great about making more money now aren't really making that much more money, are they? In relation to the actual goods that are being sold, because the prices are much higher now. That's what happens. It's a part of the economy. That's how the economy works. It doesn't fix anything. What it only does is causes an indefinite increase in the minimum wage throughout all eternity. If you raise the minimum wage to $100 an hour, it's not going to make a difference, because all it's going to do is just raise the prices of goods again. That's all that's going to happen. The economy moves in relation to the prices of goods. You're only as rich as the certain products and certain things cost in the economy that you're in. That's what really matters here. It's all in relation to how much things actually cost. So the other thing that he went on to talk about, which is probably the dumbest statement I think he's made the entire night, was basically saying that our democracy, or what he was alluding to what happened on January 6th. Let's be honest here. He didn't say it explicitly, but he was alluding to what happened on January 6th, saying that it was the worst thing that's ever happened since the Civil War.
100 days since I took the oath of office and lifted my hand off our family Bible and inherited a nation, we all did, that was in crisis. The worst pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. Now, after just 100 days, I can report to the nation, America is on the move again.
Now that's just an out and out lie. Completely. Please show me how in the world what happened on January 6th is anywhere near close to what took place at all to these other events that have happened in history. Let's take a second to go through memory lane. I mean, it's honestly sad that Joe Biden, somebody as old as he is, that has not just, wasn't a child. I mean, first of all, let's think about it. Let's talk about 9/11. Let's talk about Pearl Harbor, but let's specifically focus on 9/11. 3,000 Americans killed. How was he forgetting about that? Now, see, when 9/11 happened, I was really young. I was in elementary school. I had no idea what was going on. Joe Biden wasn't a child. He can't claim that. He can't say that he was some young child that had no idea what was actually taking place. He would have known what was happening. So why in the world is it that he can just scrap that, pretend that that didn't happen, is basically what's going on here, and pretend like January 6th was the worst thing ever? Let's go through some of the things that happened on January 6th. How about that? Okay, let's talk about the fact that nobody showed up with a gun. Nobody shot anybody. The only person actually that got killed was a protester. An unarmed protester, by the way, something that they regularly leave out. And the people that did die, the officers that did die that were there, were dying of unrelated things that had nothing to do with the people that were there to protest. But Democrats don't care about the facts. Let's look at the BLM riots all summer. Remember those? I mean, cities were burned, businesses ruined. They're mad at the Capitol. Talk to the business owners that got their businesses completely burned down. Talk to Officer David Dorn that literally got killed by one of these BLM protesters, a former black police officer. Where is he at on that one? Once again, you have to take these things into consideration because he's absolutely misrepresenting what happened on January 6th and putting it at this level that is far beyond what is actually the truth. You can't compare this to 9/11. That's not how this works. What he didn't mention in all of his speeches as well are many other things. He left out talking about the border crisis. He never talked about the fact that there are kids in cages right now that are at the border. Has not addressed any of that whatsoever. Remember who built the cages, Joe? Well, now they're there. They're building more cages and nothing's taking place at all from that. He failed to mention holding China accountable for the coronavirus pandemic. Actually, China wasn't mentioned at all in an unfavorable light. You know why? Because he's Beijing Biden. It makes perfect sense. We know where he stands with China. He pretty much stands with. You just watched a clip from the William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.